PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The New York Mets play the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Mets wrap up their road trip in Pittsburgh today. It's been a fun trip to the land of the Three Rivers. Mets were able to slide downhill yesterday and get themselves a victory after losing the opening game of the series, and they'll try for the rubber match at PNC Park today. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Pittsburgh. I'm Gary Cohen. Ron Darling joins me in just a moment as the Mets play the rubber game of their three-game series against the Pirates and wrap up this six-game road trip. It's been an up-and-down series so far for the Mets. It started up for Johan Santana on Monday night. Santana was dealing early. The Mets got him 4 runs in the second inning, and it looked like it would be smooth sailing against the National League's worst offensive team. But the Pirates rallied. Mike McHenry hit a 2-run homer in the 7th to tie it against Santana, and then disaster struck in the 8th when Mike Baxter and Kirk Neuenhuis couldn't communicate on this fly ball. Neil Walker ended up at third and came home on the Clint Barma sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 8th. Joel Hanrahan did the rest, and the Pirates had a 5-4 victory on Monday night. Last night, though, R.A. Dickey was just splendid. He struck out a career-high 11 batters, didn't walk anybody. His knuckleball was dancing all over the place, and Dickey turned in 7 terrific innings for his 6th win. But it was a tie game until the 8th. Mike Baxter hit one just beyond the reach of Andrew McCutchen, and Lucas Duda with the 2-out hit brought him home with the go-ahead run, and the Mets bullpen able to put on the finishing touches. Frank Francisco earning his 2nd consecutive save with a 1-2-3 ninth inning, and the Mets had a 3-2 victory, and they evened the series at a game apiece. So the Mets go for the rubber game here today and try for a 500 road trip. You know, the Mets began a stretch of 18 out of 25 on the road 3 weeks ago. 12-12 over that stretch of a chance for a winning stretch. 18 of 25 on the road. That's pretty good.
Pretty good, and it starts with Jonathan Neese coming off probably his worst start in the major leagues. He gave up 4 home runs in his start against the Toronto Blue Jays. Maybe you can take some solace, though. 0-2 at night and 2-0 during the day with an ERA under 2.
And on the other side for the Pirates, the native of Reading, Connecticut, Charlie Morton.
Well, Charlie Morton's had an interesting year. Last year he started out 5-1. He ended up 10-10. He's hoping for a little better luck. His last start was against Justin Verlander, who took a no-hitter into the 9th.
So it's Neese for the Mets and Morton for the Pirates as the Mets wrap up their road trip here in Pittsburgh. Mets and Pirates on a gorgeous afternoon in Western PA. All the action coming your way on SNY. brought to you by Geico, by Lexus, by Cholula Hot Sauce, the flavorful hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap. By your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. And by AT&T, rethink possible. Kick off your summer when the Mets come back home to Citi Field tomorrow night for an 11-game homestand featuring matchups against the Padres, Phillies, and Cardinals. Visit Mets.com for tickets. Take a drive around the majors presented by Nissan. Last night, C.J. Wilson, 8 innings, only 1 hit as the Angels blanked Oakland 5-0. And oh, by the way, Albert Pujols hit a home run. The Dodgers came from 5 runs down. Ivan DeJesus Jr., 2-out, 2-run double in the top of the ninth. And they beat the Diamondbacks 8-7. The Dodgers now 7-2 since Matt Kemp went out. And Adam Wainwright, his first complete game shutout, coming back from surgery as he throws a 4-hitter, beats the Padres 4-0. A very emotional night for Wainwright. He was really choked up after the game and said it was one of the great moments of his career. Just ask Carlos Beltran. John Neese set to take the mound for the Mets in Pittsburgh this afternoon. First pitch from PNC Park coming right up. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Xerox, ready for real business. Mets looking for the rubber game here in Pittsburgh. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup. Only one change from last night. Rob Johnson will catch in favor of Mike Nickias. Mike Baxter leads off for the second straight game. He had the big hit to get the Mets started in the 8th inning, scored the go-ahead run. Ike Davis gets another crack after an 0-for-4 night last night. Time growing short for Ike as the Mets go up against the Connecticut high schooler Charlie Morton.
Well, Charlie Morton had 10 wins last season. He's been really bitten by the home run ball. Last season in a little over 170 innings, gave up only 6 home runs. He's a sinker ball pitcher. He's already given up 5 this year, 5 in his last 5 starts. Here's, of course, Light Pirates defense. Gorkys Hernandez in the left field. Andrew McCutchen in the center. Harrison with his third straight start in right field. Jamaica Navarro getting the start. Alvarez on the bench. Barmas, Walker, McGee, who started the first game at first base, and Rod Barajas behind the plate for the second day in a row.
It's something of a Sunday lineup for Clint Hurdle, and it struck me that a guy like Clint, who for a good portion of his career was a Sunday type player, would be a manager most likely to run his reserves out there.
Well, considering how they've been swinging the bats, especially their star players, Tabata and Alvarez, it's a good day to sit down and see if you can get some offense from some younger guys.
Well, you got a couple of pitchers today, and Morton and Neese, who have had very difficult months of May, trying to get their ship righted on a beautiful afternoon in Pittsburgh. Temperature will push toward 80 degrees. And Mike Baxter will lead things off for New York. Baxter 1 for 4 last night, was retired his first 3 times up, but with 1 out in the 8th, hit a double beyond the reach of McCutchen and came around with the go-ahead run, and he takes a strike from Morton, and we're underway in Pittsburgh. Baxter making his 8th start of the year, second straight day he's batted leadoff, and not done it before in the big leagues before last night, and he's hitting at .378.
Rob Johnson, you can see he's practicing the signs. You know, when the Mets catchers, before they put down the digits, they go through a series of signs to let the pitcher know what sign they're going to use.
But practicing it in the dugout?
It's like the saxophonist practicing in his room. You know,
just doing a few riffs.
Yeah, why not?
I've never seen that before. It's been a few days since Rob's been out there. It's muscle memory. 1-2 to Baxter, and the curveball fouled at the plate. Still the ball and 2 strikes to Mike, with Kirk Neuenhuis on deck, and then David Wright in the opening inning. Mets finishing off a 6-game road trip. They've got 2 and 3 so far in their trip to Toronto and Pittsburgh, and finishing off a 25-game stretch where they played just 7 home games. There's a slap to the left side. Backing off is Navarro, the third baseman, and he throws out Baxter by a stride, 1 away. Navarro has played at 5 different positions this year for the Pirates, as has Josh Harrison. So they've got a couple of guys who can work different parts of the field as Clint Hurdle looks for a winning combination.
Harrison ended up at shortstop at the end of last night's game.
So here's Neuenhuis, who's 2 for 4 in this series, and every time it looks like Kirk is starting to tail off, he comes up with another good effort like he had last night, a single and a walk in his 4 plate appearances, hitting at .284 for the year. So into the second straight day, Andres Torres sits, and it's going to be fascinating to see what happens in the coming weeks, because you've got 2 players who are struggling so mightily in Davis and Torres, and Jason Bay coming back at some point. Somebody's going to be the odd man out in that first base and outfield situation.
And in my humble opinion, it certainly can't be Neuenhuis. You know what I liked seeing last night, Gary, is that the night before, Baxter and Neuenhuis were the goats in that ball game, and then last night Baxter gets the double to get on second. Neuenhuis works the walk. Baxter scores a go-ahead run. Neuenhuis the insurance run.
A change of 8th inning fortune for the 2 young outfielders. Morton ahead 1-2, and Neuenhuis smacks one the other way for a base hit. Dorcas Hernandez plays it back in, and Kirk Neuenhuis is the first base runner of the day, a 1-out single.
Neuenhuis has a very interesting swing, isn't it? When we watch him, it's not that he really drives the ball to left field. It's kind of that he has a flat swing when the ball's up in the strike zone. He just kind of rakes it across the strike zone, and sometimes it's late enough to power that ball to left field.
So 1 out and 1 on, and David Wright comes to the plate, and in a season in which David has seemed to be on base every time he's come up, last night was a startling exception. He went 0 for 4 and struck out 3 times. A game the likes of which we just haven't seen from David this year, which made it stunning. But the good thing for the Mets is, after Wright struck out in a big spot in the 8th inning, Duda followed with a big 2-out hit to get the lead run home. David hitting at .403, leading everybody, and that one gets behind Barajas, and Neuenhuis moves up a base. Interesting that the 36-year-old Barajas is catching early day game after a night game.
Yeah, with the sunglasses on, and I think even Rod would agree there. That's, you know, not the move you want to see from him. the backhand. You want to get that body out in front of the ball.
So the wild pitch by Morton moves Nieuwenhuis into scoring position with 1 out. 1-1 to right. He still carries an on base percentage over 500. He's at .503. First time with a runner at second, and I guess Barajas wasn't practicing his signs in the dugout before the game. As he and Morton have trouble connecting. That misses low to right, 2 balls and a strike. So he can learn something.
That's right. When you watch Morton throw, a lot of you people at home will go, boy, it looks a little bit like Halladay. He does. But he's more of a sinker kind of pitcher, gets a lot of ground balls, although he's been throwing more of his breaking ball this year.
Don't want to be just like Halladay now, the way Doc has been going. And he falls behind on right, 3-1. Well, 2 years ago, Charlie Morton had, and it's miserable a year as you can have, 2-12 ERA over 7. And he and Ray Searage and some of the minor league pitching folks with the Pirates decided they needed to drop Morton's arm angle. He'd been throwing over the top his entire life going back to high school. And they dropped him to more of this 3/4 delivery. As Wright lifts one out to right field, hit pretty well. Harrison, though, back on the warning track, has it measured and puts it away for the 2nd out as Nieuwenhuis tags and goes to 3rd. So 2 out in the inning. And the results were startling. I mean, Morton felt as though he was finally in the proper arm slot that he should have been in all along, and got off to a fantastic start last year. He's leveled off since then. But certainly that 2-12 pitcher is way in the past.
Well, I think Ray Searage is one of the up-and-coming pitching coaches. He's changed a lot of their pitchers. James McDonald's he's changed, and we saw how good he was last night.
Well, here's Duda with 2 out and a runner at 3rd. Lucas 2 for 8 in the series, including that RBI hit last night, and a first pitch breaking ball in on him, and this has been the pattern with Duda this entire road trip. Breaking ball, this one inside, a ball and a strike.
You know, talking to Ray Searage, he's out of that Mike Maddox Texas Ranger school. He wants his pitchers to go deeper into a game, 120 plus pitches, and I think that's a great thing. That's where your strength is. That's where your studs are, the guys that are starting in the game. Get it as deep as you can into that bullpen.
Well, the Pirates have pitched very well this year, and that's helped their bullpen put up the best relief numbers in the league. It stands to reason the more innings your starters can go, the less pressure on that bullpen, the better they can perform. And that's certainly been the case with Pittsburgh. Their problem is scoring enough runs to support their staff. 2-1 to Duda, and he dribbles one foul. Well, he just can't get his arms extended for this at bat.
They just it's almost like they have him in an embrace before they start throwing the pitches.
Daniel Murphy on deck, hoping that Duda can keep the inning alive. Well, the Mets scored all of their runs with 2 outs last night. 93 2-out runs this year, the most in the majors. Now the 2-2 from Morton, and that misses inside. Fastball, 3-2. So every pitch from Morton in this at bat has been either on the inside corner or further inside against Duda.
And interesting, they don't play a huge shift against Duda with that style of pitching.
And it's ripped into right field, a base hit for Duda. So he got the 3-2 breaking ball, and he handled it well. Another big 2-out RBI for Duda, and the Mets jump in front 1-0.
Well, this is a strength for Lucas Duda. When he's facing a pitcher who's a sinker slider guy, that ball's going to be down for the most part, and that's where his strength is. Very similar to the pitch he hit in last night's ball game from Cruz into right field.
So Duda drives in his 22nd run of the year, and the Mets jump out to the early lead. Now Daniel Murphy with a runner at first and 2 out. Daniel has cooled down on this road trip. Just 1 for his last 15. The home road numbers for Murphy are startling this year. He's hitting .372 at Citi Field and only .258 on the road. 0 for 4 in this series. Dribbles that one foul, and Morton's ahead 0-2.
He's also, these Mets have faced some better starting pitchers on this trip than they have when they were at Citi Field.
Well, the Mets will face the Padres coming in this weekend. The Padres very much like the Pirates in that they pitch pretty well and can score. Pirates are the lowest scoring team in the league. The Padres second lowest. And Murphy gets all tied up. Morton with a 3-pitch strikeout of Murphy to end the inning, but the Mets cash one in. A wild pitch helping them out, and Duda bringing it in with a 2-out RBI. 1-0 New York. Starting lineup for the Pirates this afternoon. Josh Harrison has been their hottest hitter along with Andrew McCutchen. Harrison getting a chance to play somewhere every day, and he leads off today against John Neese.
You know, Gary, you were mentioning before Jonathan Neese ended April with a 2.81 ERA, now 4.85, jumped a couple of runs. 15 runs in his last 17 innings pitched.
Harrison 3 for 8 in this series. All 3 hits have been for extra bases. And Neese misses high and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gorkys Hernandez on deck, his first big league start, and Andrew McCutchen behind him for the Pirates this afternoon. And Neese gets ahead on Harrison, 1-2. Well, John had arguably the worst start of his career his last time out. He gave up 4 home runs in the first 3 innings against Toronto. Smack to the right side, and Murphy is there to play, and Harrison retired 1 away. And what was so odd about that start in Toronto is in those 3 innings, he gave up 4 home runs, gave up 8 runs, but he also struck out 6 batters.
There's the Lexus Mets defense behind Jonathan today. Baxter, Neuenhuis, and Duda in the outfield, same as last night. Wright, Cedeno, Murphy, and Davis in the infield. And Rob Johnson getting a start today.
Here's Gorkys Hernandez. He's had 1 big league at bat. That came the other night against Johan Santana, and he struck out. 24-year-old Venezuelan who came over in the Nate McLouth trade. It's funny because the Pirates got 3 players from the Braves when they traded Nate McLouth, and all 3 players were here this week for the Pirates. Gorkys Hernandez, Charlie Morton is pitching today. Jeff Lott, the 3rd one, just got sent down today. But also the Pirates have McLouth back, sitting on their bench. There he is. He barely gets any playing time these days. Broken back grinder right back to Neese. So that's the way to get sawed off in your second big league at bat. 2 out and nobody on. Welcome to the big league cut fastball.
Well, struck out in his first at bat against his fellow countryman Santana, and now a broken back.
So 2 out and nobody on. Here's Andrew McCutchen. We talked about Neese giving up the 4 home runs and the 6 strikeouts in 3 innings. According to Elias, it's only the 2nd time in modern Major League history the pitcher in the first 3 innings of a game has given up 4 homers and struck out 6. And Neese has good company because the only other guy to do it was Randy Johnson.
Oh, the big unit. Wow. How did he get 4 home runs off Randy Johnson?
Bad day. You wouldn't want to be around him after that.
And what makes it crazy, of course, is that when you have those days where you're giving up home runs, you do not have your best stuff, and you are just usually getting hammered by not only the home run hitters but everyone else.
Andrew McCutcheon swings and misses. Good cutter by Neese, and it's 1-2. McCutcheon hitting at .340, 3 for 7 in this series. He is an island in that Pirates lineup. Normally he has Pedro Alvarez hitting behind him. Today it's Neil Walker hitting cleanup. Here's the 1-2, and he's upstairs with the fastball. 2-2 to McCutcheon.
Very interesting. They worked on something in between starts here with Neese to quicken up his motion to the plate. You'll see that it's almost like he's jumping at the hitter now. It's got a little more on the baseball.
And that fastball hit out to right. Duda stumbles a moment but recovers to make the grab. And Neese has himself a 1-2-3 opening inning. After 1 in Pittsburgh, the Mets with a 1-0 lead. This season, subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Mets out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. 1-0 New York as we start the second. Ike Davis leads off against Charlie Morton. Ike 0 for 6 in this series. And that 156 batting average is the lowest in the major leagues among qualifiers. An oxymoron, because what they're saying when they say qualifiers is qualifiers for the batting championship.
Yeah.
But if you have the lowest average, it's like being a jumbo shrimp.
That's right.
It's taken for a strike, 1-2. I could settle for a little jumbo right now. He's had some good batting practices during this series, but it has not translated into in-game success. Here's the 1-2 for Morton, and he leaves it away to Ike. 2-2. It'll be Davis, then Ronnie Cedeno, and Rob Johnson for the Mets in the second. Last year, when the Mets first faced Morton, he was on a roll. He had gotten off to a great start, and the Mets hit him around twice. That's ripped into right field, and Davis has a base hit. So Davis gets a positive result in his first at bat today. A hard hit single to right, and the Mets have their third hit.
Very interesting. That's the first at bat we've seen for Ike Davis, where once he gets behind the count, didn't come with the curveball.
Sure, Morton will make a mental note of that. Here's Ronnie Cedeno, who's had a great series coming back to Pittsburgh, where he played the last couple of years. 4 hits in the first 2 games. In fact, going back to Sunday in Toronto, he has 3 straight multiple hit games, and that has his average up to 280 for the year. And he takes a strike from Morton. Cedeno holding down the fort at shortstop till Ruben Tejada is ready, and it's looking more and more as though Tejada should be ready to go for the Mets sometime early in the homestand. Mets have 11 games at home starting tomorrow night, their longest homestand of the year, making up for all this time they've spent on the road the last 3.5 weeks. There's a breaking ball hit through the hole, a base hit for Cedeno. Well, Ronnie Cedeno continues to confound his own team. 5 hits and 8 at bats in this series. And the Mets have 2 men on to start the second.
Isn't it amazing? A little more incentive, a little more concentration against your old mates, and Cedeno responds with a great series.
Well, worked for Francisco in Toronto on Sunday. And Cedeno likewise. Now Rob Johnson will bat with 2 men on. Johnson making his first appearance in this series. He's made 5 starts now for the Mets. Still battling that sore left thumb that took a shot during the last homestand, but good enough to play 1 game out of 3 in this series. And when he has had the opportunity, has swung the bat well. 5 hits and 15 at bats. So the Mets looking to add to their 1-0 lead. The batting average against Morton by right-hand hitters this year has taken a big turn for the worse for Morton. Last year he held right-hand hitters to a .220 batting average. This year it's .308.
Well, last year he had complete command of his sinker. Not so much this year. That's why the results has been a lot of breaking balls. As you see, that sinker, which is his bread and butter now, has gotten him into a 2-0 count. You know, when you get into bad weather, Jerry, and you try to protect your thumbs so you don't get jammed when you're hitting, that's what Johnson has been doing. 2 hits he had in Toronto going to right field.
Also had a bunt hit in that last game of the homestand. So you do what you can to protect yourself and still try to be productive. John Neese waiting on deck. Slowly hit ball. Warmus with the charge, gets the out at second. Walker with a turn, and he throws it away, but holding at third is Davis as that ball caromed right back into play.
Well, ball not hit that hardly. Warmus with a good turn, and we've seen twice now from Neil Walker. He's not even come close to throwing that ball when he tries to rush that plate at first. Cedeno had no part in that.
Well, McGee played the carom right off the fence, and good base running by Ike Davis to realize that that ball was going to carom right back to the first baseman, because, you know, before they started putting fences in front of the dugouts, that's a run.
That's right.
So the Mets have first and third and 1 out with John Neese coming up. We'll see how the Mets play it here. Neese 1 for 11 with 1 sacrifice this year. And John running up as though he's trying to bunt for a hit. Not sacrifice quality.
Well, it was almost like that first and third where you're thinking about a safety squeeze. You certainly can't think about it with Ike Davis at third base. What you have to do is get the bunt here, because what you want the situation of second and third and Mike Baxter up. That's the best situation from this. If you let him swing the bat, could have a double play.
Well, you can run it not as a safety squeeze, but simply as bunting toward third, making that third baseman handle the ball, and then as a base runner at third, you can follow the third baseman down the line, and if you get close enough, then maybe you can break as he releases the ball to first.
I just think Ike and his inability to accelerate, that's a tough play.
Neese gets the bunt down. Ike holds at third as Morton will make the play to first. And so the sacrifice moves Johnson up the base. 1-4, moving runners to second and third.
You know, if I remember right, I think I was quite critical last year of the Mets starting pitchers' inability to get the bunt down. So kudos to them this season. They have turned it around completely.
It's been a remarkable transformation, because there was a 2-month stretch there late last year where nobody could get the job done with bunting. So 2 in scoring position for Baxter, who grounded out to third base his first time up. Mike is 6 for 11 with runners in scoring position, a nifty .545. Most of that coming as a pinch hitter. And he tops the first pitch foul. 0-1.
Very interesting. Twice now as the leadoff hitter. Yesterday, you see those numbers Gary was talking about. Yesterday, he took the first pitch in his first at bat, swung at the first pitch in his second at bat. Same today.
Davis at third, Johnson at second. Not a whole lot of speed out there. And Baxter hits one out to center. Chasing McCutchen back in the gap, and he runs it down to end the inning. So Morton works out of trouble in the second. He heads back to the mound for the bottom of the second with a 1-0 lead. Time for your Toyota tweet of the game. We want to know what you think Jason Bay's role should be after he returns from his fractured rib, which should be in the next couple of weeks. At SNY TV, hashtag SNY Mets. Let us know what you think.
Jason's in Florida right now, right, Gary?
Yep. Taking some swings. Should be close to getting into games fairly soon. Neil Walker leads off in the home second inning, and he fouls one back. 0-1.
I don't remember in our day guys going down and taking at bats. They would, when they were ready, they would just take batting practice, and after 2 batting practice, go get them.
Well, did they have the major league rehabilitation program when you were playing?
No.
See, I think that was a positive development that guys can go down and play in some games, try and get their timing back before they get activated. You didn't see the need.
No, I was just I was laughing at something that I'd love to share, but I won't.
Okay. Maybe we'll forget later in the game.
We had some other programs.
Cutter misses inside to Walker. 1-2. Walker hitting at .260. Better from the right side than from the left side. He batted right-handed last night against R.A. Dickey. Had an infield hit in 4 at-bats. And a late swing foul. 1-2. Walker, Casey McGee, and Rod Barajas up for the Pirates in the second inning. You see the left and right-handed numbers for Walker, the Pittsburgh native, who has become a fixture at second base for the Pirates. Neese with the 1-2, and he got him with a cutter inside. First strikeout for John Neese. Last night, Met pitcher struck out 13.
Well, it's all about location for Jason. If you watch that start in Toronto, he was throwing a lot of balls on the outside corner cutters that came to the middle of the plate. He's now starting that on the inner third and breaking it off the plate. Big difference.
Of course, location and also opposition.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
This team, this Pittsburgh team right now, is striking out and walking in a ratio that has never been seen in Major League history.
Or not walking, right?
Right. Casey McGee takes ball 1. Right now, the Pirates have struck out 369 times and walked only 90. That's a better than 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. That's never happened in a full season in Major League history. In fact, only once has it ever occurred that a team has had a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, and that was the 1968 Mets, who struck out 3.2 times for every walk. So right now the Pirates are floundering offensively in a way that has hardly ever been witnessed before. Casey McGee, though, works out a walk on 4 pitches. So the Pirates have their first base runner. Neese has been walking more this year than in the past. He's at 3.9 walks per 9 innings, which is a little too high for him.
He should be at some point a guy that doesn't walk more than 2 a game. I mean, that's the kind of control when he's going well, and Dan Warthen would like to see, of course.
So now Rod Barajas, the former Met catcher, started last night, went 1 for 4 with a double against Dickey. And Rod's hot right now, riding an 8-game hitting streak, and he takes that cutter for a strike.
Both the catchers are wearing sunglasses when they catch, and they're not wearing sunglasses when they hit.
Can you explain that?
I can't.
Well, when you catch, you have the helmet turned backwards, so you don't have the rim protecting you from the sun.
There you go.
Whereas when you wear your batting helmet and you wear it forwards, perhaps you get more sun protection. I'm just opining here. I have no idea.
We'll put you behind the plate next time we're at City.
I'll have to test it. Here's the 0-2 from Neese, and Barajas tries to hold, and they say he did not go around. Tim Mulkey with the call down at first. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, Rob Johnson and Mike Nickias employ that high fastball. Now 1 curve from Neese so far.
Well, with Barajas, if you're going to throw the high fastball, make sure you get it high enough, because he'll turn on that ball. We saw that as a Met. He got off to a great start 2 years ago, hitting home runs. A changeup from Neese. Threw 3 or 4 of those in his last start against Toronto.
I'd love to see him get to around 8 to 10 of those a game, just to get the hitter off his cutter in. Changeup away, fastball away.
And Ross fouls it back. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming, and Barajas hits one to center field, and steadying is Nieuwenhuis. Tagging at first base is McGee, but he only draws the throw and goes back, and that's 2 out in the inning. So 2-away now, Jamaico Navarro. Navarro, who put in a bit of big league time with Boston and Kansas City. They both let him go, and the Pirates picked him up. Versatile player, 24 years old. He's played 5 different positions for the Pirates, and he takes a strike, but he hasn't hit a whole lot. Just 7 hits and 41 at bats. Bob Guerin, the bench coach, giving the signs to Johnson. And a bouncing ball toward the middle. Cedeno runs it down, rolls over with a backhand flip, but can't make the play. And everybody's safe. Quite an effort by Cedeno. Probably 1 less barrel roll, and he might have had a chance to get him.
He couldn't get the handle on it. That was the big difference. He was trying to get it to come out of that chute on the one time he rolled over, but he couldn't get a handle. And by that time, good hustle by McGee.
So it's an infield hit for Navarro, and the Pirates have their first hit of the game. 2 on and 2 out, and Clint Barmas coming up. Barmas 1 for 5 in this series. Delivered the game-winning sacrifice fly on Monday night, but he's hitting just 167 for the year. And he punches one to the right side. Ike Davis plays the spinner and takes it to the bag to end the inning. So the Pirates leave 2, and after 2 in Pittsburgh, it's 1-0 Mets. For today, who were the only 2 players to hit a home run for the Mets in an All-Star game. Got that one.
I don't have both. I definitely know one.
Opposite field, Seattle.
Kirk Neuenhuis leads off 3rd inning and drops down a gorgeous bunt and no chance for Navarro. And Neuenhuis has himself a bunt single. Element of surprise for Kirk. He's now 2 for 2 on the day.
Plays the game right. He's leading off here. He's got Navarro back, who hasn't been playing at third base, and that is a perfect bunt. When you look at Neuenhuis, he's such a big guy that if you're playing third base, you're not going to think that he has the speed to beat one out.
Somebody should have told Navarro 267 yards in that Colorado State Championship game.
That's right.
So Neuenhuis is aboard. He's now 4 for 6 in this series. David Wright, the batter. David fly deep to right field his first time up. And Wright takes a curveball from Morton for a strike. And David's batting average now at an even 400 after going 0 for 4 last night and flying out his first time today. The thing about hitting over 400 is you don't have to go 0 for a lot for that batting average to drop.
Well, the key for David is to stay on his hot streak as long as he goes, and then get your at bats up to a number where the fluctuation is not as much.
Still leads the league in on base percentage, 5th in slugging percentage. His slugging's over 600, and he has to vacate a ball and a strike. We've seen a lot of that recently with pitchers trying to move David off the plate.
Well, we see all these advanced scouts with us on our travels, and they're going back to their teams and saying, listen, if you don't move his feet, if you do not pitch him inside, he is going to continue to hit a 400+ clip.
And yet, those pitches that move him off the plate don't seem to have had much of an effect. And the curveball bounced slowly on the left side. Navarro gets the out at second. Walker with a turn, but another bad throw by Walker. And again, the Pirates can't turn the double play. That's 3 of them now in the last 2 days for Walker.
For such a big guy, Walker, on this play from Navarro, he just seems a little jittery to me at second base. He wants to get rid of that ball before he has a good handle on it. He's such a big guy. He can just stand in there a la Jeff Kent, take the brunt of it, and make an accurate throw.
It's a nice job by Neuenhuis, though, also to get a piece of Walker and disrupt his rhythm. So right at first base with 1 out, and now Lucas Duda, who's driven in the only run of this game. A 2-out RBI hit in the first.
Only chance Neuenhuis has for contact anymore, other than the first game of the series.
you might get a little worried with Nieuwenhuis barreling down on you.
Speed and size.
By the way, did you see the double play the Dodgers turned to end the game last night?
He is some kind of fielding whiz, isn't he?
D. Gordon flying across the beat like Bobby Orr scoring the game winner against the Blues.
Yeah, just not tripped up by Barclay Flager. Very good.
Parallel to the ground as he completed the double play to end the game. And that was a first and third situation, so if he doesn't do that, it's a tie game. 2-0 to Duda, and he punches one to the left side. Barmas on the backhand, and they turn the double play to end the inning. 6-4-3. Walker makes an accurate throw. Still 1-0 New York. Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Mets are coming home. They'll be home tomorrow night to play the Padres, the first of 4. Then 3 with the Phillies and 4 with the Cardinals on this homestand that begins tomorrow night. Jeremy Hefner makes his first big league start tomorrow night. John Deese working with a 1-0 lead as Charlie Morton leads off the home third. Morton looking for his first hit of the year. He's gone 0 for 10. Mets tomorrow night are going to face a left-hander you might remember named Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz was with the Dodgers a few years back at a time when the Mets were struggling big time against lefties, and the Dodgers called him up to pitch an important game against the Mets, and he pitched a great game. Will dribble her down toward third, a foul ball. And Stoltz has kicked around since then. He's landed with the Padres, who've had, you think that the Mets have had injuries. You know that the Cardinals have had injuries, Washington. But the Padres have had more injuries than anybody. They have 13 players on the disabled list right now. 13. Wow. That's more than half your team. And the Padres have already used 39 players this year as a consequence.
So if you use, 42 to 45 for an entire season, that's a lot.
So Stoltz is getting a chance to fill in with guys like Tim Stauffer and Dustin Mosley down for the year. Morton strikes out, second strikeout for Neese, 1 down in the third. And there are your city probables for the upcoming 4-game series. Anthony Bass has been pitching very well, by the way. It's Stoltz, not Studs. Bass has been pitching very well. Clayton Richard better as a pinch hitter than as a pitcher so far this year. And Edison Volquez had a bad start his last time out, but that's a big acquisition for them. They traded Matt Latos to the Reds and got Volquez back in that deal. Here's Josh Harrison, who's 0 for 1, grounded out to second his first time up, and he takes a strike. It's Studs, I think. Studs Bearcat.
That's right. Yeah, there you go.
That's with a Z, right?
With a Z.
Harrison grounded out to Murphy his first time up. Neese has allowed just 1 hit, an infield single to Navarro in the second. And Harrison fouls it off. Another changeup from Meese.
We talked a couple days ago about, the Mets having a chance to really, have a good next 7 games. And, of course, winning here today would go a long way in getting them prepared for San Diego.
Well, it certainly helps their pitching staff to be facing 2 teams that are not quite as formidable offensively as the Blue Jays were over the weekend. Here's the 1-2. Harrison takes a call, 3rd strike. Fastball in the inside corner, and Meese has found the first 2 men here in the 3rd.
Boy, it's all about location today for Jonathan. Quickened up that motion a little bit. Nice job by framing that pitch by Rob Johnson. Inside corner.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Corquis Hernandez, who hit one off his fists back to Meese's first time up. Hernandez started out in the Tigers organization and was involved in 2 significant trades early in his career. One for Jair Jurgens and then one for Nate McLeod. Cedeno throws him out, and so Meese has himself a very quick inning. Gets the Pirates 1-2-3, still 1-0.
About it.
Daniel Murphy leads off the 4th inning for New York. Mets with a 1-0 lead. Murphy struck out his first time up. 0 for 5 now in this series. And throws a curveball just off the plate. A ball and a strike. Murphy, Davis, and Cedeno for the Mets in the 4th. Warden's had base runners against him in every inning. Leadoff man reached each of the last 2. And it slapped to shortstop. And Barnes with a low throw. McGee down to get it. And that's the first out of the inning. So 1 out and nobody on. Ike Davis coming up, and we check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Well, Gary, as has been the case for the last week, Ike Davis was a topic today with Terry Collins in his pregame media briefing. And the question was posed, if Ike does indeed go down, which we certainly don't know yet, who would you play at first base? And Terry tossed it around about guys being more versatile. Murphy's kind of entrenched at second base, and Duda said he's feeling comfortable in right field. Well, one option, if that does happen, is Mike Baxter. Baxter actually has a lot more time at first base than most people realize. He's played 150 games in the minor leagues there. Only has 1 major league game there for the Padres back in 2010. I talked to him about it. He says, I was an infielder really until 2006. When I was at Columbia, I played 3rd, but my time at Vanderbilt, I played pretty much exclusively first base. So I'm pretty comfortable there. This spring, 3-4 times a week, he went out and did ground balls at first with Tim Tuffle as Davis grounds out to McGee. Will take it 2 down. So he did that 3-4 times a week. He said, if I had to play it, sure, first couple days might be just kind of getting the rust off, but I'm sure I can do it. Got it?
It'll be interesting to see over the next few days what transpires, because what's become difficult in terms of the decision whether to send Ike down is that you've got another player who's, nominally a starting player right now, who's in as horrific a slump as Davis is, and that's Andres Torres. And with limited numbers right now until Jason Bay comes back, that certainly changes the equation a little bit. Cedeno takes a strike. Davis is a valuable commodity for now and for the long term. And Torres is a different story. He's a 34-year-old placeholder right now for this franchise. But Davis is a guy you're trying to build your franchise around. Cedeno in a base hit his first time up, and he punches one to the right side. Neil Walker makes that play, and Morton has himself his first 1-2-3 inning on 3 ground balls. Still a 1-0 game. AT&T trivia question. 2 players to hit a home run for the Mets in the All-Star game. Lee Mazzilli was one of them, and David Wright was the other.
Should have got that one right.
Well, you remember he was in the home run derby that
year, right?
With Paul Loduca pitching to him. And then Loduca ran out of gas in the late rounds, and that's why David didn't win with him.
He looked like he got the yips, too. After seeing that Lee Mazzo, I agree with you, Maz. I don't know how they traded you for 2 minor leaguers.
Well, that ball went, about 315 feet?
It's all right. I remember that's the first time I had really seen Lee Mazzilli play. And I said, boy, that's pretty awesome.
Those minor leaguers turned out to be pretty good. And it's kind of like the Pirates with the Nate McLeod trade. They got him back.
That's right.
Cedeno comes in to grab McCutcheon's ground ball. And Nice has the first out in the bottom of the 4th.
When Masso came back, I just remember he just knew how to get on base, whether it was as a pinch hitter. He became a pinch hitter extraordinaire, and then occasionally would play in the field. But he just would get, if you needed a guy to get on base, he could get hit by a pitch, he could walk, he could stroke a base hit. He just, and part of that is buying into that job, and he did when he came back.
And he still knew how to wear the uniform.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Neil Walker takes a strike. Walker struck out his first time up. Nice's fan 3, walked 1 over the first 3 1/3. That misses the plate, a ball and a strike.
I still see Mazzo all the time. He's with that other team on the other side.
Which team is that?
In the Bronx, Gary. And I see him all the time. He looks great. Fantastic.
Grounded toward the hole. Cedeno moves over on the backhand and makes the long toss on target to get Walker. And the ground ball is starting to flow for John Nice. 2 out and nobody on. Get extended post-game coverage of today's Mets-Pirates series finale, plus a preview of tonight's Game 5 Rangers-Devils matchup on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, today at 5 p.m. only on SNY. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Casey McGee, who walked his first time up.
It's been a good sign, hasn't it, Gary, when Jonathan Nice was pitching much better in April. That's the one thing we all noticed, how many more ground balls he was getting.
He's got 6 ground ball outs already of his first 11 outs today. Ball and a strike to McGee. Well, the outfielders on both sides could have gone on vacation the last couple of innings. Nobody's hit a ball out of the infield since Barajas flied out at the bottom of the second. And now Nice ahead on McGee, 1-2. And John getting a lot more liberal use of his changeup today, I think more than we've seen all year.
Well, he had to change something. I mean, when you have a start like he did, obviously the guys are sitting on that fastball, have to change speeds.
Another ground ball and another chance for Cedeno. He gets all of 3 assists in the inning, and he sets him down 1-2-3. Through 4 in Pittsburgh, the Mets up 1-0. Morton, Mets got a run off Morton in the first inning. Single, wild pitch, fly ball, and a 2-out RBI hit by Lucas Duda. And that's been enough to stake John Nice, who's had quite the bounce back performance today. Nice will hit next, and then Mike Baxter here in the 5th. Well, when you give up 8 runs in 3 innings, and you come back 5 days later, and you got 4 scoreless under your belt, it's going to be an awfully nice feeling, no matter who you're facing.
Sometimes in the course of a year, Gary, the timing of who you play can get you back on where you're supposed to be.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Of course, his next start will be against the Phillies, who have offensive problems of their own. 2-0 now to Johnson. What's more troubling for the Phillies right now is the last 10 combined starts by Lee and Halladay. The Phillies are 2-8.
Yeah.
Which is stunning.
How did that happen? It's usually upside down, right? It's usually 8-2.
And it's not like they've been unlucky. Their ERA combined over that span is over 4.5. I mean, Halladay, you expect him to be superhuman, and he's just not been so far this year. Morton behind 3-0. Hasn't walked about it today.
Got so bad last night that his catcher Chuch Ruiz got thrown out of the game, arguing balls and strikes, not when he was up at the plate, but when he was catching for his pitcher, which is admirable. But he's batting .344. You need him in the lineup.
It sure looked like Gary Cederstrom had a quick trigger there. You don't know what Chuch said, but still. Usually if the catcher doesn't turn around he doesn't get ejected.
Yeah.
And it looked like Ruiz did not turn around and show up Cedarstone.
But at one point, umpires always have one thing they say to you, Gary. That's enough. I don't want to hear one more word. And if you say one more word, then you're done. Or a magic word, one or the other.
3-2, and Johnson just got a piece to stay alive. Sometimes that works with your kids, and sometimes not.
The real bad part is when they give the magic word to you, then you're in trouble.
Well, then you just have to give it back.
That's right. We have older children. That's why we know this.
Here's the 3-2. And Johnson goes to the right side. He's got himself a base hit. With Walker playing him up the middle, Rob Johnson, who's been hitting the ball to right field, gets aboard to start the 5th inning. John Neese comes up looking to sacrifice again, and we check in with Kevin.
Well, once a week, guys, we're looking at our minor leagues here in the Mets system at the road to the major leagues. And certainly a lot of focus on Matt Harvey and Jeurys Familia and Zach Wheeler, who's pitching today. And we'll focus more on Harvey and Familia next week. Harvey's actually coming off a real good start. 6 innings, 3 runs, 11 strikeouts. At the plate, Harvey actually is 4 for 10 with a homer. So he's hitting as well. But, you look around some of the other younger guys, maybe a little farther away as Neese gets the bunt down. Is there a play at second? Nope. Braz goes to first. Johnson a second. Good sacrifice for Jonathan Neese. Well, you look at some of the other guys. How about Adrian Rosario? He was the player to be named later in the K-Rod trade last year, and he's making some noise. He dominated Single-A St. Lucie this year to the tune of 11 saves, 28 strikeouts, and just over 20 innings pitched. He's 90-95, and I talked to some Mets people who really are confident in him. They believe he is a setup type guy as a reliever. He has started, but they think relieving in the major leagues is where he could go. And then the other guy that I took a look at this week was Josh Edgin, who we became familiar with in spring. Obviously, he made a big push in the spring, got invited late to Major League camp. He was good in Double-A, bumped to Triple-A where he struggled, Gary and Ron. And I talked to a couple guys and say, look, the first 2 outings were not good, but then he had some bad luck in there as well. A lot of soft hits, as they called it. His velocity's been there, 93-95, and he comes off a good outing. In fact, he's only allowed 1 run his last 6 times out. So Edgin starting to get on track here, guys.
I would be shocked if we don't see Josh Edgin in the big league sometime before the end of this season.
It'll be sooner than you think. He just was so impressive. And, in minor leagues, not in minor leagues, any league, a relief pitcher just has to have 1 or 2 bad outings, and you're going to have that high, lofty ERA.
Well, Robert Carson is here now as the second lefty in that bullpen, and Terry Collins reiterated again last night that he's got to get him in. As Baxter pulls one into right field for a base hit. Johnson to third. He'll be held up there by Tim Tuffle as Harrison's throw comes in wide of the plate. So Mike Baxter with the second Met hit of the inning, and the Mets have runners at the corners.
Well, a little breaking ball over the middle part of the plate. Nice hitting by Baxter. Again, pulling it through that hole past Walker. And even though you have an infielder out there, Harrison, he charged that very well. And I think Tim Tuffle made a good choice. I don't think that you needed to send Rob Johnson there, who does not have a lot of speed. Hold him up and hope Neuenhuis can drive him in.
So first and third and 1 out. Now Neuenhuis is 2 for 2. Kevin, I understand that Zach Wheeler is pitching a gem today for Binghamton.
Yeah, I believe he is, Gary. He's if you look at his starts so far in Double-A, now granted, some of them innings-wise have been limited, but he has not allowed more than 2 earned runs per start. He's really been terrific. And again, today he's into the 5th inning, I believe, down to start for Double-A. So you wonder how long for he gets to call the Buffalo.
Gave up his first hit after 4 2/3 today. So I would imagine a midseason promotion for Wheeler to Buffalo. That makes sense.
Yeah. You make sure that he has lots of success. I'm a big believer in getting to a point where you dominate your league, then move on. Going 5-5 in Double-A doesn't fly. Dominate it, then go to the next.
Are you more concerned about numbers, or are you more concerned about command?
Command. The numbers are going to happen. You don't know if you might be stuck on a minor league team that doesn't hit, so you might be 4-7 your numbers. I know my last year in AAA, I think I was 10-9 or something like that, and but I had pitched exponentially better than the year before.
Neuenhuis 2 for 2 on the day. And Morton spending a lot of time on Baxter, who has 2 stolen bases. Mets have done very little running. They're dead last in the National League in steals. Just 16 steals in their first 43 games.
I think it's just fun to talk about, like it must have been in the 60s and the 80s, talking about guys in the minor leagues who might come up and help the ball club. I mean, it was fun.
We did that in the 90s too.
Just don't talk too much.
Nieuwenhuis lifts one to left. That'll get the run in. Back goes Hernandez to make the grab. Tagging at third is Johnson. He comes in to score. Sacrifice fly for Nieuwenhuis makes it 2-0 New York.
Well, Mr. Nieuwenhuis is having himself a nice little ball game, isn't he? Nice situational hitting right there, not trying to pull the ball, making sure you get the ball in the air. And that's a pretty tough pitch there for Morton, and driven almost to the warning track. Hernandez is just an outstanding fielder, made a tough play look easy.
So Baxter at first with 2 out. Mets now with a 2-0 lead. And here's David Wright, who's been held in check last night and again today. He's fly deep to right and grounded into a force play. 0 for 2 in this game, and that has knocked his batting average down under 400 for the first time in about a week and a half.
And he drives this one at deep right field. Back goes Harrison to the track near the wall, and it's off the fence and in play. Baxter tooling around third. He'll easily score. It's an RBI double for David Wright, and it's 3-0 New York. Well, that fence in right field is 21 feet high, and that's all that kept David Wright from an opposite field home run. Instead, he has his 26th RBI.
His first at bat, he had a similar pitch that he just did not cover, and the ball was caught in right field by Harrison on the warning track. Well, this time he did cover. Just a line drive high off that fence, and by the time Harrison got to it, of course, that good speed by Baxter, able to score the third run.
Baxter able to go with a crack at the bat with 2 out.
That's just a little inexperience there from Harrison, because he had to know that ball was either going to be out of the ballpark or high off the fence. He wanted to play that off the fence and maybe hold Baxter from scoring.
Meeting at the mound, Ray Searage, the pitching coach, out for a conversation with Morton, who has given up 2 runs here in the 5th inning. Mets now with 3 runs and 8 hits against Mr. Morton. David with that double, now back over 400. He's at 401. And the Pirates get the bullpen going. The left-hander Tony Watson is up. You got the left-hand hitter Duda up, and 2 more left-hand hitters behind him. Duda had a base hit to drive in a run back in the 1st inning. Here's Watson. And a call strike to Duda. Watson, remember, was not used last night in a situation that seemed to cry out for a left-handed reliever. And they left the right-hander Juan Cruz in to face Duda in what turned out to be a game-winning situation. And Clint Hurdle said after the game that he didn't use Watson because he had pitched 2 days in a row. Now here we are watching Tim Burdick pitch 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row. A little curious.
Well, a younger pitcher in Watson, of course, and I guess they monitor them very closely. But, you know, these starting pitchers for the Pirates, there's no runs scored for them, so you know you're going to run into these problems at Morton, trying to be too fine, trying to be perfect. Sometimes you're not trying to allow any more runs to come in, and you have a big inning. It's Eric Bedard, who started the first game of the series, went 5 innings.
1-2 to Duda, and kicks away from Barajas, and over to third goes David Wright. Second wild pitch in this game that has eluded Barajas.
Not a good game so far for Barajas. See this ball? He doesn't turn the glove over. And when you turn the glove over, you want to keep it down and take that ball off your body. It'll be softer and not carry him so far away.
Ronnie, I go back to a 36-year-old catcher being asked to catch day game after a night game. And, you know, not a guy like, I don't know, Pudge Rodriguez in his late 30s, or, you know, Yadier Molina. This is a guy who's, you know, not accustomed to that kind of work at this point in his career. And that kicks off Barras's mitt, but not too far away.
It's not only that, you know, you have to reward your players who play well. And McKendry in the first game was a hero, and now he doesn't start for 2 days.
So Duda's worked the count to 3-2. Already has a 2-out RBI hit today. David Wright just added another one. Mets have now scored 95 runs with 2 outs this year. And Duda hits this one out to center. McCutchen coming on and there to make the grab and end the inning. But the Mets tack on a pair. Nieuwenhuis and Wright with the RBIs. We're halfway through in Pittsburgh. 3-0 New York.
steals.
Well, we were talking about Zach Wheeler before. Zach, who doesn't turn 22 until a week from now. Going into today, a 2.15 ERA in Binghamton. And you were mentioning a lot of those walks came very early in the year.
Yeah, he had a couple early starts where the walks were a problem, so he has limited that in his last few.
Now John Neese takes to a 3-0 lead. Ron Barajas leads off the home 5th inning and takes a strike. Barajas fly to center his first time up. Neese has retired 7 in a row and got 4 consecutive ground balls to shortstop. Barajas more of a fly ball hitter.
Yeah.
I don't think he hit 10 ground balls in 4 months when he was with the Mets. Jamaico Navarro on deck, and then Clint Barmas for the Pirates in the 5th.
You see Ronnie Cedeno way in that hole on the left side and Murphy up the middle.
There's the good curveball from Neese. He hasn't thrown a lot of them today, but that one strikes out Barajas, his 4th strikeout of the day. Well, right shotgun with John Neese as Mets blog's Matt Cerrone hitches a game day ride to Citi Field with the Mets lefty starter. Get an inside look at his daily routine and find out which player always gets to the stadium first on Riding Shotgun with John Neese. I'm not kidding. Presented by Pepsi Max. Check out the exclusive feature now at www.sny.tv. Really?
I thought that originally was going to be on the train.
Well,
now it's riding shotgun.
Maybe Matt wasn't comfortable on the train. So John decided to give him a lift. That's okay.
It's not that much shotgun riding in an urban environment.
Well, it's not Texas. 1-1 to Navarro, who has the only hit against Neese. An infield single that stuck in Cedeno's glove. Otherwise, Neese might be working on a no-hitter right now. Cedeno made a nice play going to his left, rolled over a couple of times, and as he did, couldn't quite get it out of the mitt for the flip to Murphy. That would have resulted in a force play, and they scored a base hit for Navarro, as probably they should have. Bouncing ball down to third, and it comes up for David Wright, and he makes the perfect toss, 2 out. That's 9 in a row now retired by Neese, and the ground balls just keep on coming. Another way, we're talking about Barajas playing for the Mets in 2010. Mets traded away Barajas right around the deadline, right around the same time they traded Jeff Francoeur.
Yeah.
I remember when they traded Francoeur, they got Joaquin Arias from Texas. Arias now playing third base for the Giants with Sandoval out.
Really?
Seen a couple of highlights with him the last couple of nights.
Arias is the only guy. He was the anti going on the minor league rehabilitation. He hadn't played in 2 weeks, and then we just threw him in left field. And he was an infielder.
Cannon fodder. 2-0 to Barmas. And the Giants, you know, with Sandoval out, they've been playing well. They've won 8 of their last 11. Trying somehow to keep pace with the Dodgers, who win every day.
Buster Posey had a big night last night with a home run and 3 RBIs.
He's homered 2 straight games. There's a cutter for a strike. 2-1 to Barmas, who rolled out to first base his first time up. Neese coming off his worst outing of the year, turning in his best.
Big out here. 2 outs. Want the pitcher leading off the next inning if he comes out at all. This is one where you got a 3-run lead right down the middle to Barmas. Maybe he'll hit it right at someone.
Right at his third base coach, Nick Leyva, who has not had a lot to do this year, so it's nice to see Nick get involved. You know, when you're the third base coach of a team that doesn't score, it can be a lonely business. Nick, the former manager of the Phillies. 3-2, and Barmas shoots one into right field, and that's a 2-out hit. So Barmas has his second hit of the series, and that'll clear the pitcher's spot. Just the second hit of the day against Neese, and the first one that's found the outfield grass. And Charlie Morton, who struck out his first time up. What were you telling me about Morton's strikeout number?
He's got 135 at bats now, career, at 78 strikeouts. I mean, that's almost 60% of the time.
Wow, that is Hank and Gary like.
There you go.
I thought up at Joel Barlow High School in Reading that they taught him hitting better than that. He breaks his bat this time. No strikeout. But Cedeno will throw him out, and that ends the inning. So that improves his strikeout percentage. After 5, 3-0 Mets. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Pepsi Max. Go to MLB.com/Pepsi Max to vote for your favorite legends for the chance to play ball with some of baseball's greats. By Nissan's National 10 event, choose Nissan.com or your local dealer. And by Partners Executive Transportation, driving you around the world. Daniel Murphy leads off in the 6th inning and fouls off the first offering from Charlie Morton. Murphy is struck out and grounded to short 0 for 2. Mets got a run in the first, Duda with an RBI hit. Tacked on 2 in the 5th. Neuenhuisen right with the RBIs. And Murphy hits one foul. And it's 0-2. Murphy, Davis, and Cedeno for the Mets in the 6th. Nice crowd gathered on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. A lot of kids in the ballpark. There were bus loads coming in early this morning. And Murphy pops it up. Walker tracking it. One away. Ike Davis coming up, and Chris Carlin coming in with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. That's what you call a bad first inning for both pitchers.
That's right. You were mentioning teams that have suffered the injuries. Well, Milwaukee's on that list also.
Here's Ike Davis. By the way, I think I just said it was Thursday. I think I got ahead of myself.
That's all right.
It's Wednesday.
It's usually the Thursday day game that we have. But
you know, in baseball, every day's the same.
That's right.
There are no holidays. There are no weekends. It's just a game. Ike Davis had a hard hit single to right his first time up today. Then grounded out to first base in the 4th. Just Ike's 3rd hit in his last 35 at bats. And hook from Morton misses. 2 balls and a strike.
One of the few pitchers that's missing with his slow stuff against Ike Davis, getting him in better hitting counts.
It's true. They've been throwing breaking balls for strikes to Ike for weeks. See if he gets a fastball here, and he does, and he fouls it off. 2-2. Of course, if you're going to work yourself into fastball counts, you need to take advantage.
You know, this guy can sometimes be hard to pull because his ball really runs and sinks away from the left-hander. Your best option is go that way.
Gordon's 2-2.
And Ike hits one to deep left center field. McCutcheon got a late start back in the gap, and over comes the left fielder Hernandez to make the catch. Gorkis Hernandez, who has a reputation as a terrific defensive outfielder, going a long way into left center to run this down.
You know what's interesting is McCutcheon gives way to Hernandez. Hernandez is an excellent center fielder usually. That's his position he plays. So when he's in left field, he still can go get him.
That's a fine play by Hernandez, because off the bat it looked like McCutcheon was the only one with a chance. And Hernandez going a long way. So 2 out and nobody on, but another encouraging at bat for Ike, driving that ball to left center.
That is the best thing I've seen, because he's hit some balls to shortstop on this trip, he's hit some balls to the third baseman, but he drove that ball to left center.
And that's what Terry Collins was talking about yesterday. He said he had a conversation with Ike, and was encouraged by the couple of at bats in Toronto where he hit the line drives to third base. But he said, look, we don't want you to be a singles hitter.
Yeah.
We want you driving the ball, and that's exactly what Ike did. And going the other way is one thing, driving the ball the other way is something else. And Cedeno drives one to deep right center. Back goes Harrison to the edge of the track, and he pulls it in to retire the side. Mets go down 1-2-3 against Morton in the 6th. Still 3-0 New York.
Home for their longest homestand of the year, 11 games, and it starts off with a 4-game set against the Padres tomorrow. To make that Jeremy Hefner gets the start for the Mets tomorrow. You look at this Padres team as Harrison leads it off for the Pirates against Nice, and that is a fair ball. He has torn up the Mets once again. Harrison's going to try for 2 and get in with a leadoff double. Anyway, we've seen the Pirates offense struggle. The Padres offense has really struggled. They're 28th in Major League Baseball in run differential. They're at -40. I mean, to give you an idea, the Rangers are first. They're over +80. So they have really had struggle scoring runs. Now, I talked to a scout on the Padres. Said, the one bat you really can't let beat you is Yonder Alonso. Now, he's the guy that the Padres got in that trade for Matt Latos. He's not a power guy, but I was told he's got a real good feel for hitting to all fields. Petco hurts him a little bit. Real good against righties, hangs against left-handers. He's done a real nice job for them. Other than that, Guzman is a guy in the lineup you got to be careful of, but they've really had some issues. And guys closing for them, Houston Street is their guy. He's on the DL. Dale Thayer, 10 innings, no runs, 5 saves. How about that?
You just never know, do you? Same Dale Thayer who put in some time with the Mets last year. Corky Hernandez takes a strike from Neese, and it's 0-2. Well, the Padres have had all sorts of problems. And even, Alonso's hit 1 home run. Jesus Guzman, who was their breakout guy last year, he has 2 home runs. He's hitting .250. They just don't have the bats. And then Chase Headley last night has to sit with back problems. He's the one guy who's been the stalwart of their lineup with those 13 guys on the disabled list.
Dale Thayer, old number 28. 28 straight fastballs when he came up with a big run.
First 28 pitches through as a bat, all fastball. All in that 92 range.
Yep.
Hernandez looking for his first big league hit, but he won't get it here. 5th strikeout for John Neese for the first out of the inning. And Voorhees has looked a little overmatched at the plate, even as he thrilled with his defense in that last inning.
Well, that's the scouting report, is that he hasn't been able to turn his game on offensively as good as it is defensively.
So 1 out, Harrison still at second. Here's Andrew McCutchen, who's flied out and grounded out 0 for 2. Well, one thing that had gone absolutely right for John today until this inning was getting the leadoff hitter out, and that had been a big area of concern for him. Coming into the day, leadoff hitters in an inning had a .455 on base percentage against Neese. But he got the leadoff batter out each of the first 5 innings before that Harrison double to start this 6th. Only the 3rd hit for the Pirates today. Upstairs to McCutchen, a ball and a strike.
That's an unheard of number, 455.
Well, it's the 2nd highest in baseball. You know who has the highest?
It's one of the Mets, isn't it?
Dylan G.
Yeah.
462 leading off an inning. One of the reasons for his troubles this year.
Might as well become a relief pitcher. You're in the stretch all the time.
Yeah, but you don't want to be giving up that first batter base hit or walk as a relief pitcher. Even more so if you're coming in with men on base.
Yeah, no, I'm saying as far as you're a starting pitcher, one of the rewards of being a starting pitcher is get the pitch from the windup. Yeah. But when the first guy gets on, get back in the stretch. Nice pitch counts there, 12, 10, 10. You know, if you can be around 13, that's an incredibly great number.
15 is about the major league average. 15 an inning gets you through 7 with 105. Yeah. And you'd be happy to do that every start. 1-2 to McCutchen with Neil Walker on deck. Now Neese with a 2-2, and McCutchen fouls it back. The fastball up.
Boy, I like watching this young man play. He's got all the tools. You know, in a strange way, their team 20 years now without a .500 record, and maybe the only person on their team that you could trade and getting 1-4 would be Andrew McCutchen, and that's not going to happen because he's the face of the franchise.
He's going nowhere.
Yep.
25 years old, power, speed, defensive ability, great personality. He's got the whole package. 2-2. Hit sharply through the hole, a base hit. Harrison to third will be waved home by Nick Leyva. No throw. It's an RBI single for McCutchen, and the Pirates are on the board. It's now 3-1. So McCutchen, the only real threat in that lineup, has his 4th RBI in this series.
Well, you see the defense pretty straight up. Murphy holding the runner Harrison close to second base. That ball gets through the hole. Baxter coming in from left. Nick Leyva took a long time before he decided to send Harrison, but he's got great speed, and Baxter's choice there is to keep the double play in order.
So now it's a 3-1 game, and the tying run comes to bat with Neil Walker at the plate. Walker has struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. And McCutchen a base stealing threat. Double play ball right at Cedeno. Murphy has to make the quick turn, and out of the dirt, Ike pulls it out for the double play. 6-4-3 to get Neese through the bottom of the 6th. Pirates get one on the board. 3-1 Mets going to the 7th. Leads off against Charlie Morton. Johnson 1 for 2, single to right, and scored a run in the 5th inning. John Neese is on deck, and then Mike Baxter. The Pirates will keep their bullpen busy with Morton's pitch count in the 80s. Morton threw 92 pitches his last start in 6 innings against Detroit. Tony Watson, the left-hander, Jared Hughes, the right-hander in the Pittsburgh bullpen. Of course, in that last start, Morton never really had a chance.
That's right.
That was the game. Justin Verlander came within a couple of outs of a no-hitter. Johnson pulling off the breaking ball, and it's 1-2.
He only gave up 4 runs in that game, and he's pitched well today.
But John Neese has pitched better, and it's been a terrific bounce back performance for Neese at a time when the Mets really needed it. Here's the 1-2, and a little dribbler under the glove of Morton, but Walker is there to field it and throws out Johnson, 1 away. So 1 out and nobody out. Let's take you back to the Toyota tweet of the day. We asked you what you thought Jason Bay's role should be with the Mets when he returns from injury, and I think we got a variety of responses on this. Matty says, I think Bay should have a platoon with the other corner outfielders. And Card NY says, same as it was before, he hasn't lost his job. Neese grounds 1 to short, and Barmes throws him out 2 away. Well, I would suspect that when Jason Bay comes back, he will be the everyday left fielder again.
Agreed.
My guess, if I had to guess right now, and of course we're still, maybe 10 days, 2 weeks away from Jason returning, is that Kirk Neuenhuis will play most of the center field.
Yeah, and I think what you'll have is the extra outfielders will be Baxter and Torres. And if you have a similar situation as you did last night, Torres can lead off an inning batting for the pitcher late in the game to try to get a rally started, play a corner position as well as center field late in the game, and then Baxter will be your main pinch hitter off the bench.
Baxter has started the last 2 games as the leadoff hitter, and he was right in the middle of a rally in the 5th inning, single to right. He's 1 for 3 on the day. It's been a very rough go for Torres, who played very well when he first came back from the calf injury, but has really been over swinging lately. And you look at Torres's career, and he had the one really good year with the Giants 2 years ago. He's 34 years old, but there's not a whole lot of track record to suggest that he's going to have a big offensive year. He does give you defensive stability in the outfield, that's for sure. And the throw ball from Morton for a strike, 1-2. But I think all of these things are in a state of flux, and as Terry Collins said again today, and it's a line he's used frequently this week, nothing is etched in stone.
It's interesting that you've had a lot of comment about or not a lot of comment from Mets and manager Terry Collins about saying Neuenhuis is the better center fielder, but that's my job, so I can say it. I think he's a better center fielder than Andres Torres to me. Younger, fresher legs. I think he takes a better path to the ball right now.
And there is Neuenhuis, who's had himself a fine day at the plate, waiting on deck. Now Morton with a 2-2 to Baxter, and a fly ball. That'll go foul down the left field side.
Neuenhuis is one of those Mets that was suffering from that kind of head cold / flu for a while, especially in Toronto, and he's feeling a lot better, and you can see it in his play today.
And he's played through it.
Yeah.
Mets will face a left-hander tomorrow night with Eric Stoltz going for the Padres. And that's it out to left field. And Hernandez coming on. Puts it away to retire the side. So Morton retires 7 in a row. 7th inning stretch time in Pittsburgh, 3-1 Mets. Casey McGee leads off the bottom of the 7th for the Pirates, who trail John Neese and the Mets 3-1. McGee has walked and grounded out, and he grounds one this time to Daniel Murphy. 1 pitch for Neese and 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. At City and SNY help the YM and YWHA of Washington Heights and Inwood expand their program with the SNY Play Ball Award. Now it's your turn. Help your youth baseball or softball league with a $5,000 grant. Apply for the SNY Play Ball Award presented by City at sny.tv/playball.
So a very interesting choice there, Gary. You have a 2-run game, and it really addresses the lack of patience for these Pirate hitters who are trying to do it all by themselves. You have a 2-run game. You cannot have the first hitter leading off swing at the first pitch and make an out. You have to try to get on base any way you can, and that means sometimes maybe taking a walk.
Especially a guy like McGee who hasn't had a home run all year. Barras lifts one to center, and NYN AT PIT has it lined up. And quickly, Neese with 3 pitches has recorded the first 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. John's at 81 pitches right now, and he is rolling. Jamaica Navarro comes up with 2 out and nobody on. Navarro has one of the 4 hits for the Pirates today, an infield single back in the 2nd. Well, you go back to the walk strikeout ratio for the Pirates. Today, Neese has walked 1 and struck out 5. That's 91 walks and 373 strikeouts for the Pirates. A better than 4-to-1 ratio, and as we mentioned earlier in the game, that would be unprecedented in Major League history if it were to stay that way for the full season.
But we saw this with Ike in Toronto, where he swung at the first 3 pitches and made 3 outs in Toronto. If you are striking out a lot, players lose their patience and don't want to get the 2 strikes, so they put the first ball in play. That's why you have 82 pitches or 83 pitches from Jonathan this afternoon.
This one's driven to center, but NYN AT PIT has it measured and puts it away to retire the side. A 6-pitch inning for John Neese in the bottom of the 7th. On to the 8th, 3-1 New York. Water. We've seen all sorts of craft moving through the Allegheny River today. Even saw a little houseboat come by a few minutes ago. Jason Grilli comes out of the bullpen for the Pirates as we go to the 8th inning.
Well, much traveled. He's played in Florida, Chicago, Detroit, Colorado, Texas, and now with Pittsburgh. He's a graduate of Baker High School in Baldwinville. What is that? In Westchester County? Baldwinsville?
No.
That is. No?
Have to look that up.
Yeah.
Well, his dad pitched in the big leagues with the Tigers back in the 70s. Steve Grilli, he was born in Brooklyn. And Steve, kicked around after he was with the Tigers. He spent a little time with the Blue Jays. And while he was with the Blue Jays, he got to pitch in AAA at Syracuse. And when Steve Grilly's career was over, he opened up a little bar, grill type place just beyond the right field fence at Old MacArthur Stadium in Syracuse.
Wow.
Steve Grilly's Change of Pace bar.
Oh, Change of Pace.
The best wings outside of Buffalo.
Nice.
Best. Kirk Neuenhuis leads off in the 8th inning and takes a strike.
You and I were talking about when you're in the minor leagues, man, there's like 2 or 3 places in each town that just become your oasis because you just love the food, or you love the people, or they'll keep it open late after a game, all different reasons.
Remember that famous shot that Magic Johnson made, that hook shot in the lane in the finals against the Celtics?
Yeah, when he was playing center that day.
I saw that in Steve Grilly's Change of Pace bar in Syracuse.
See, memories.
Neuenhuis 2 for 2 in a sacrifice fly today, and he's late on the fastball from Grilly. Grilly was away from the team for the last few days. He was on the bereavement list. His wife's grandmother passed away, and he just rejoined the team today. So Clint Hurdle anxious to get him back in there. He's been the primary setup man for Joel Hanrahan out of that Pirate bullpen that's been so successful this year. Pretty good outing for Charlie Morton, and notice no win for him today. Possibility of taking a loss. Morton went 7, allowed 3 runs, 8 hits, no walks, only 1 strikeout, 2 wild pitches, one of which led to a run. And Neuenhuis late on the fastball, and Grilly strikes out the first man to face him.
No, this is the one pitch that Kirk's going to have to work on. This pitch out of the strike zone up is a pitch he cannot handle.
50th strikeout for Neuenhuis this year, and that's been the one downside for him. So now David Wright, who drove one off the fence in right field for an RBI double his last time up. David 3 for 11 in this series with a couple of RBIs. That double knocked his batting average back over 400 for the year. He's at 401 at the moment. Slider from Grilly, 0-1. It'd be interesting to see how far John Neese can go in this game. Neese with 7 terrific innings under his belt and only 84 pitches. And he's got the 8 and 9 hitters coming up in the bottom of the 8th. Foul back by Wright, and it's 0-2.
Put it in perspective, in his last start in 3 innings, John threw 77 pitches.
Nobody throwing in the Mets bullpen, and you know that if there's a way for Terry to stay away from Tim Burdack today, he would love to do that.
I thought you were going to say if there's a way for Terry to use Tim Burdack today.
I mean, he's on a pace for 98 appearances. It may be a little much for a guy 38 years old coming off knee surgery in the spring. I asked Terry about Burdack today, and he said that he felt as though coming out of spring training that he needed to concentrate on using Burdack against the one big left-hand hitter in every lineup, and he's really done a great job with that. Swing and a miss, and right down on strikes. So Grilly with back-to-back strikeouts to start the 8th. 2 out and nobody on. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He has another New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Middlebrooks at third, Youkilis at first, Adrian Gonzalez volunteering to play right field. And it looks as though that might stay that way for a while. Here's Lucas Duda with 2 out and nobody on. Meanwhile, the Orioles just keep on rolling.
You know, it's interesting you were talking about Burdack. The thing I found really interesting, too, the question you asked him, he said, you know what? I really felt that using him the way I did last year, where he pitched an entire inning, really wore him down over the course of the year. And he said why he feels as though he can use Burdack as much as he does. He said he is the best reliever by far of getting ready. He gets ready really quickly, and then he doesn't waste any more pitches. He just stands out there and he manages along with me, knowing when I'm going to use him.
Sometimes it's easier for that situational lefty to do that than anybody else in that bullpen, because you know coming into a series which hitter or hitters you're going to be used for, and so you don't have to kill yourself to get ready for situations where you're not going to be used.
And Alvarez was the guy here that he knew he would have to get out.
And faced him twice the last 2 nights and struck him out both times. Now it's 2-1 to Duda, who had a run-scoring single back in the first. And a good fastball by Grilli, who's looked impressive. 2-2. Well, there's Burdick, who, he's ready to pitch every day, but after pitching each of the last 4 days, probably best if he sits today. See what happens with Nice in the 8th and whether he's needed. Now the 2-2. And it's fouled back by Duda. Grilli's come in throwing hard today. 95 on that fastball. Daniel Murphy, who's had a rough road trip, waiting on deck. And Duda went around, strike 3. So Grilli strikes out the side in the top of the 8th. He's back to the mound for the bottom of the inning with a 2-run lead. Bobby Parnell and Robert Carson staying busy in the Mets bullpen as John Nice starts the bottom of the 8th, facing Clint Barmas. And he throws a cutter for a strike. Barmas has one of the 4 Pittsburgh hits, a single to right his last time up. Pirates scored their only run of the 6th. Nice bounced back with an easy 7th. And now Barmas pops one up, shallow right center. That may fall in, and it does for a base hit. So Barmas has his 2nd hit of the day, and that'll get the tying run to the plate for Pittsburgh here in the 8th. And Jose Tabata will come up as a pinch hitter. So Tabata, the regular left fielder, who started the first 2 games of this series and went 1 for 7, gets the pinch hitting assignment here. Tabata does not have an official at bat as a pinch hitter this year. Takes a fastball for a strike, 0-1. Well, Brad Lincoln was up in the Pirates bullpen, but after Barmas got on, Joel Hanrahan, the closer, got up as well. Glenn Hurdle hoping his team can at least tie it and get Hanrahan into the 9th. A ball and a strike to Tabata. Josh Harrison, the on-deck batter. Let's have Carson up in the bullpen. I think that was a hedge against Pedro Alvarez being announced as a pinch hitter. And that's off the plate, 2-1. Harrison has been a big pain in the Mets side in this series. Waiting next. Here's the 2-1. And Tabata hits it off the end of the bat to center field. And NYN is right there waiting for it. And that's the first out of the inning. Back to first goes Barmas, one away. So here is Harrison, who doubled down the left field line his last time up and scored the Pirates' only run. That was his 4th extra base hit in this series. Harrison only has 17 hits for the year. 9 of the 17 have been extra base hits. And he's late on the fastball from Nice, 0-1. And all of a sudden, those sunglasses come in handy because the sun just popped out from behind the clouds. Ball and a strike to Harrison. Boy, Nice, even at this point in the game with a runner on, is working at a much more zippy pace.
Yeah, faster clip.
His 93rd pitch of the day, and it's fouled back by Harrison. Another crisp fastball, and it's 1-2.
Still got plenty left. 90 to 91 on his fastball still here in the 8th.
What's interesting is out of the 93 pitches he's thrown today, how many curveballs has he thrown?
5, maybe 6. He's thrown a lot more changeups though.
Very unusual for John. And the changeup fouled at the plate. Maybe a cutter there from Nice. 1-2. Well, the numbers are impressive, especially in light of what happened last Friday in Toronto, when he got tagged for 8 runs, 4 home runs in just 3 innings of work. 1-2, and Harrison fouls back that cutter, and it's still a ball and 2 strikes.
Starting to get that cutter though in the middle of the plate. I'd like to see him get that inside to Harrison, who's kind of a free swinger. Curveball in the dirt, fastball in off the plate.
Little tapper. Nice comes off the mound, looks to second, but takes the out at first. Almost threw it high and wide, but he gets Harrison for the second out as Barmas moves up to second. And Nice almost let that whole play get away.
I'll tell you though, what a good choice he made. When the ball's hit off the end of the bat, he thought he had a chance at the runner at first base, and maybe he did, but the easy play was first base. Just throw it with a little more conviction.
So now 2 out, the runner in scoring position, and Gorkys Hernandez comes up, still looking for his first big league hit. He's gone 0 for 3 today, 2 ground balls and a strikeout. Hernandez was hitting .266 in AAA before he was called up. And Nice just misses outside, 1-0. Well, this is the guy you've got to get with Andrew McCutchen looming on deck, and I have a feeling if Hernandez were to get on, we'd see Parnell to face McCutchen. A ball and a strike to Gorkys Hernandez. McCutchen has driven in the only Pirate run today and has 4 RBIs in this series. Now the 1-1, and Hernandez swings and misses at the fastball. 1-2.
Well, he's got a long swing. He's not able to catch up to that fastball so far by Nice.
John has walked 1. He's struck out 5. He's ahead 1-2 on Hernandez. A little bit high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 24-year-old Venezuelan Hernandez, making his first start for Clint Hurdle, and is hoping for some magic. 2-2 from Nice, and he misses high. 3-2. A rare 3-ball count for John Nice this afternoon. It's only his 3rd of the day. Parnell and Carson ready. And that's outside, ball 4. Hernandez draws the walk. Nice is beside himself, and he probably will not stay in to face McCutchen. Here comes Terry Collins. Well, Nice had the opportunity to get himself through 8. But the raw rookie Gorkys Hernandez worked from behind in the count, was able to lay off a couple of pitches just out of the strike zone, and Nice walked him. First time Hernandez has reached base in the majors, and that'll bring an end to John Nice's day. Bobby Parnell coming in. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Fios. Welcome to America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Welcome to Life on Fios. 3-1 Mets in the 8th. We'll be right back. A fine afternoon for John Neese, who exits after 7 2/3, leaves with the tying runs on base and puts it in the capable hands of Bobby Parnell.
Well, Parnell struck out Andrew McCutchen in this series. You can see his numbers so far this year, getting in more highly leveraged situations. Bobby Parnell.
McCutchen bats with 2 out and 2 on. He's driven in the only Pittsburgh run today with a 6th inning single against Neese. And now facing Parnell. Bobby's throwing a lot of first pitch curveballs lately, but this time a first pitch fastball outside for ball 1. The Mets 3 runs and 8 hits. The Pirates 1 run and 5 hits. McCutchen 4 for 11, 4 for 10 in this series. And fouls off the fastball, ball and a strike.
It's a pretty good swing there by McCutchen, just a little late.
Parnell can make you late.
Yeah, right. And he's not even throwing his 98. That was 93, 94 miles an hour.
He got it up to 101 in Toronto over the weekend. Now the 1-1 coming to McCutchen. Outside, Johnson's throw to first, and he gets by Davis and down the line. And the runners advance to second and third. Well, they were going to have Hernandez dead to rights, but the ball got by Ike Davis, and on the error, 2 in scoring position now for the Pirates.
Well, it's hard to fault this play with guys now in scoring position, the tying run in scoring position, because they had him. Nice play by Johnson. The throw is a good throw. Ike had to go so far and couldn't get it in his glove, but that's a good throw right on the base, and the runner should have been out.
They're going to charge the error, and I think properly so, to Ike Davis for letting that ball trickle through him.
Yeah, it was right there.
So now a base hit could tie the game. You got McCutchen at the plate with a 2-1 count. Let's see how carefully Parnell pitches to him with Walker on deck. And McCutchen a check swing foul ball. There's a big break for Parnell, and it's 2-2.
Good pitch by Bobby right on the corner. And you can't get a better pitch on the knees, on the black, down.
Barmas at third. Hernandez the tying run at second with 2 out. 2-2 to Andrew McCutchen. And a bouncing ball foul. And McCutchen stays alive.
You can see Bobby's MO when he pitches now. He wants to throw balls on the corner at 93, 94. When he gets ahead, he lets it go. That one 98 miles an hour.
Cincinnati try to elevate. I know Johnson likes to call that pitch.
Elevate or a hard knuckle curve in the dirt. One or the other.
Two for Parnell. He struck him out. Parnell gets McCutchen for the second time in this series, and he strands the tying runs in scoring position. Perfect pitch by Parnell on the corner. Still 3-1 New York.
It's debatable.
Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night at 10:30, Rangers and Devils, Game 5. The Giants in OTAs, and the Knicks trying to figure out what they're going to do next year at the point. All coming up on Geico Sports Night, 10:30 on SNY. Brad Lincoln is on to pitch for the Pirates.
Their #1 pick in the 2006 draft. He's gone back and forth. He's had 1 start this year, 9 other relief appearances.
Daniel Murphy leading off in the 9th, and he swings at the fastball and misses 0-2. 10 consecutive Mets have been retired since a double by David Wright in the 5th inning. Frank Francisco, who pitched a 1-2-3 ninth for a save last night, getting ready for another chance this afternoon. 0-2 to Murphy, and he smacks one down the left field line. That'll slice away and go foul. Murphy's 0 for 3 today and just 1 for his last 18 as he's hit his first skid of the year. Mike Davis on deck, and then Ronnie Cedeno as the Mets look to tack on here in the 9th. Mets got a run in the 1st and 2 in the 5th. So far, that's enough. And the curveball to Murphy misses, ball and 2 strikes. Brad Lincoln out of the University of Houston and Lake Jackson, Texas.
Some great numbers this year.
Well, that entire Pittsburgh bullpen has been spectacular. Led by Joel Hanrahan, who may be the most dominated closer in the National League right now. Here's Hanrahan, who got the save on Monday night in the opening game of the series. Two to Murphy, and it's chopped. Waiting for it to come down is Lincoln, and calmly throws out Murphy, 1 away. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on WB Mason Post Game Live. Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda, guys. All right, guys, we'll see you in just a few. Now Ike Davis, who's 1 for 3 today, has had some good at-bats today. Had a base hit back in the 2nd. Last time up, he had a long drive to left center that Gorky Hernandez ran down deep in the gap. And he takes the breaking ball for a strike from Brad Lincoln. When a guy is going as badly as Ike has been going, you look for positive signs. And it's not necessarily in the numbers. It's more in the process.
I mean, I'm at the point where I don't really care what happens in this at bat. I think today was a real positive day, step forward for Ike. But it would be nice to mix in another hit. 2 for 4 would be a sweet day.
Facing a very tough pitcher right now in Lincoln, who's got him down 0-2 on a couple of breaking balls. And that one goes to the backstop. He went around, but he didn't run. And he'll be thrown out easily, and he still hasn't run. And I don't understand that at all.
Well,
if you check your swing like that, run to first base and ask questions later.
The only problem, I think the ball might have hit him, Gary. The ball hit him in the toe. But that's a dead ball. Once he said he swung and the ball hits him in the toe, it's a dead ball. No place to go.
Gotcha. Can't run to first base then. So
you just don't see that very often, that someone gets hit by swinging at a ball down and in.
And it definitely hit him in the foot. But if you swing, it doesn't matter. And it does take away your opportunity to run to first. So 2 out and nobody on. And here's Ronnie Cedeno, who's 1 for 3. And he hits one toward right center field. Over comes Harrison to pick it off. And so Lincoln throws a 1-2-3 inning. 13 Mets in a row have been retired. But Frank Francisco gets the save chance when we come back. Andres Torres will come to play center field. He'll bat ninth. Kirk Neuenhuis moves over to right field, and the pitcher Frank Francisco will hit in the number 4 hole. Francisco coming off a 1-2-3 save last night.
Yeah, he's retired 6 in a row. He's struck out 20 batters so far in his innings, 20 in 17 2/3 innings, and has saved 3 games in a row.
And he has become quite the quipster in the post-game locker room. Last night, one of the writers asked him, was that game in Toronto Sunday a turning point in your season? He said, "Did you see what happened on the field?"
Well, you know what I like about it is that a lot of closers in his situation that had struggled, you see them be a shrinking violet. They don't want to talk to anybody. They're got their head down in the dugout or locker room. Certainly not the case for Frank. He's kept a kind of an even keel through that most difficult of times.
He really has embraced the attention. I mean, he had that situation last week at Citi Field where he had 3 press conferences in one day. And he handled it very well. And he has handled his assignment since. Neil Walker will lead off for the Pirates in the bottom of the 9th. Pedro Alvarez has come out on deck to bat for Casey McGee. And then Rod Barajas due up 3rd in the inning. Walker is 0 for 3 today. Struck out and grounded out twice, once into a double play. And Francisco ready to go. And deals low and inside to Walker for ball 1. Walker grounded out against Francisco last night. Walker 2 for 11 in this series. And that's at the knees for a strike, 1-1.
Do have to say this entire time all 3 home plate umpires did an outstanding job, starting with Laz Diaz, Mike Everett, and today Paul Schreiber. No complaints.
Off the end of the bat, the splitter by Francisco, and it's 1-2 to Walker. I think I can legitimately say in all the games I've seen Paul Schreiber umpire behind home plate, I've never seen him have a bad game.
Yeah, he's solid. Consistent. That pitch that Parnell threw to McCutchen, there's a lot of home plate umpires who refuse to call that.
Now the 1-2 to Walker. And the splitter is down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now Bobby Parnell was called upon to get 1 big out. His task became more complicated when Davis couldn't handle Johnson's throw on a pickoff that could have ended the inning. But Bobby stayed with it and got McCutchen on a very nasty pitch right on the corner to get the strikeout and end the threat. Now Francisco 2-2 to Walker starting the last of the 9th. And the curveball, strike 3 call. A pitch we don't see all that much of from Francisco, and he uses this one as a put away for the first out.
Well, pitching coach Dan Worth and then Terry Collins have implored Francisco to use all of his pitches. Great result there.
Well, they have Pedro Alvarez on deck to bat for McGee, but now they're going to switch up and send up Garrett Jones instead. I'm not quite sure I understand that. Jones is probably more of a home run threat than Alvarez is.
Maybe they think, though, Jones is more of a contact threat, a guy who can maybe get on base in front of the next hitters.
Not a lot of good choices for Clint Hurdle is the bottom line. So you're sending up a guy with a .242 on base percentage to face Francisco in this spot. Jones faced him last night, and Frankie struck him out. 1 out and nobody on. And Garrett Jones takes a strike. Francisco trying to save it for John Neese, who went 7 2/3, allowed a run on 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. An odd day for Neese in that he barely threw his curveball at all, but had a terrific afternoon. And Jones lifts one out to right center field. Torres calling as he goes. And that's the second out. So Francisco has retired all 5 batters he's faced in this series. And now he's 1 out away from his second save in 24 hours. Rod Barajas, the batter. Barajas started the day with an 8-game hitting streak, but he's gone 0 for 3 today. A strikeout and 2 fly balls to center. Mets trying to finish off a 500 road trip. They head home to start an 11-game homestand tomorrow night. And they'll have Jeremy Hefner making his first big league start in tomorrow night's game against the Padres. Barajas takes ball one from Francisco. And now Alvarez is back on deck to bat for Navarro if Barajas keeps the game alive. Francisco thought he might get that call from Paul Schreiber. He didn't, and it's 2-0. John Neese, interested spectator.
Yes.
And Barajas swings on 2-0 and fouls it back.
Don't get it.
Well, that's Rod, though. He's a thou shalt not pass kind of hitter.
Can't tie up the game, though. He's got to get on base. But, you know, that's one of the things that has changed about the game. That was an automatic take there, trying to work a walk and see if Alvarez can jump Francisco.
Now it's 2-1. And Barajas swings and fouls it off, and now the Pirates are down to their final strike. Well, Clint Hurdle's team, for their lack of offense, has done awfully well to be only 3 games under 500. But it's hard to see them maintaining that unless they start to produce some more offense, averaging just 2.9 runs per game for the season. Pitchers can only carry you for so long. Now it's 2-2. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Frank Francisco with another 1-2-3 ninth inning saves it for John Neese. The Mets take the rubber game from the Pirates, finish off a 3-3 road trip as they take 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh.
Well, Jonathan Neese with his 3rd win. Now the Mets on the season are 12-12 on the road. 12 saves now for Frank Francisco, and in games decided by 2 or less runs, the Mets now have run their record to 15-6.
Lucas Duda, Kirk Neuenhuis, and David Wright with the RBIs today. Neese with a terrific afternoon, bouncing back from his worst start of the year. And the Mets getting fine pitching the last 2 days against the Pirates to hold them just 3 runs in the last 2 games and win this one 3-1. Well, John Neese won his first 2 starts of the year. Had gone 6 starts without a win, but he gets his 3rd today as the Mets make quick work of the Pirates on this Wednesday afternoon and take the rubber game of the series. Mets win it 3-1. Frank Francisco finishing things off for New York. We'll come back with more from PNC Park in just a moment.